you go, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We had a chance to have a workshop today and a roundtable, and somebody said, we have to ask questions to solve problems. And I thought that was really interesting. That really kind of shook me. It shook me so much, I wanted to give you a joke about it. And I know you never should start speeches with jokes. I never do, but I'm going to. So there's a company, big oil and gas company, big E&P company. They're looking for a high-end engineer. So this dog comes in, takes all the technical tests, and aces all of them. So the project manager looks at the dog and says, hey, this is amazing. Do you speak another language? The dog looks up. Meow? My wife's going to kill me for telling that joke. But I mean, it goes to the fact that sometimes we look past the simplicity of it and we look at the complex. And the complex is actually the simple answer. So as I get into this, as we start talking a little bit about the way these things work, the way we look at technology now to solve complex problems, I want to start off, for me, by trade, I'm an economist. So I always look at numbers. I know a lot of people here are engineers, and that's what you do, but I want to run with that. So with that, we're going to go a little bit here. So I sparse things in 5-year increments because nowadays 5 years is a long time. So right up here, 2008, 2013, right now 2018. I want to talk a little bit about something about digitalization, about technology. We're going to talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin in 2008 was worth an idea. Somebody said, hey, we should make an electronic currency because this is the future of America. This is the future of the world. We're going to go with that. So 2008, we come up with this great idea, and we're going to, hey, let's try and figure this out. By 2013, the average price of Bitcoin for that year is about $300. It started out around $100, ended up around $600, $700, but averaged around $300 for the end of the year. But by the time we got to 2018, it jumped up to $6,000. This is not even a currency, it's an idea still. It's still an idea, but technology moved it forward that fast. Now, when we talk about these things, you know, we're oil and gas people. So I thought, hey, let's start looking at these numbers. So in 2008, 157,872. 157 was the number of drills we were drilling in America for oil. 872 was gas. I mean, pretty good for what we were doing in 2008. I mean, you know, we were crashing, the economy wasn't doing so well, but we tried. By the time we got to 2013, though, you can tell this was when things started kind of picking up. We went up to 379 oil wells, 1,491 gas wells. This was the time to make money. Prices were really rallying, we were really going up, things were looking good. But today, what do we have today? 834 oil wells being drilled on average this year, and 189 weekly drills for gas. Now, the number in gas has dropped off a lot. We're looking at associated gas here with the oil, but the technology has really picked up. But you know, I couldn't stop there. I kept thinking, what about those drills? What about those rigs? What about it makes them so special? Well, you know, we look again, we go to 2008, and you're like, we were doing 5,000 barrels a day, 5 million barrels a day of crude in America, and 54 BCF of gas. Not too bad, considering the number of wells and the technology that was at the time. But the thing that really starts to stand out is that we jumped to 2013, fracking's taking off. Now we're up to 7.5 million barrels a day, and we're at 66 BCF a day in gas. But here we are today, 11 million barrels a day of crude oil, 76.5 BCF of gas. This is not just technology, this is efficiency. And that's what we're all here today to talk about. It's all about efficiency. Technology is one thing. We all grasp that. We all love that. We all want to say, hey, this is the best thing ever. But really what we're grasping right now is efficiency. For the most part, I want to tell everybody that, you know, what did we start this at? 2012, 2013, we saw a big boom. So we're given 5 years. A little history lesson. The Industrial Revolution, back in the 1800s, it was between 40 and 80 years. 40 and 80 years we took to take what seemed so simple back then to something very, very highly technological back then, that much time. In 5 years, we've progressed this much. There's so much ahead of us, so much that we're working towards right now that really makes a difference. I think it's important to remember this. We've been talking about operational excellence. We were talking about workplace excellence. We were talking about ways to enhance our technology. And I think the thing that we forget is that in this economy right now, it's not about a smaller workforce, it's about a smarter workforce. We're doing more with less. But the problem that we're starting to see is that less is harder and harder to find. I mean, I think if I look back in my economic view back in the 2000s, I mean, and I don't want to demean anything, but I remember saying to my colleagues, do you know when we're at full unemployment? It's when I go to McDonald's and it takes 10 minutes to get a burger, because they don't have the labor to make it happen that quick anymore. They're short of that labor. Well, now we're facing a similar thing, except that the problem is we're finding a shortage of smart labor, skilled workers. You know, so many people are focusing on the idea of working in coding or digital or technology, but what we really need to do, and we talked about this in my workshop this morning, or this afternoon I should say, about making it attractive to younger people, making it something interesting to go and get. Now, many of you may have seen this earlier, but there was a talk or an interview on LinkedIn the other day. They were talking about millennials. The guy said, Simon Sinek, he said there's 4 things that millennials really care about. Number one was, let me think about this one. I'm going to go out of order. So 1 was impatience. 2 was technology. 3 was environmental. And the 4th one kind of escapes me right now, but I really wanted to draw down that point, the fact that I don't think that people today embracing technology are impatient. They just believe that there's a better way to get more things done in a shorter path. And I think that's what we're all here to talk about. I mean, we're not, myself, I'm not a millennial, but I think this is what we all want to strive for. We all want to get to A to C without having to worry about B. And the point of all of us being here today is trying to talk to each other, asking those questions, wondering about how do I do this? What do you do? What do you do? Because if I can understand that, if I can see that, then maybe I can put something together around that and make my company, back to where we started about this conversation, back to where we brought this thing, more efficient. We want more efficiency. It's not about the technology. It's not about building an algorithm that's going to be faster and better. It's about being more efficient, because with efficiency comes profitability. Now, for what it's worth, I mean, I don't want to sound like a consultant up here, because that's kind of what I'm sounding like, trying to tell you how to get your businesses bigger and better and make more money. But this is the way of the world right now. Instead of doing something over 5 years, I'm going to do it over 5 months. Instead of doing it over 5 months, I'm going to do it over 5 weeks. Instead of doing something over 5 weeks, I'm going to do it over 5 days. Hold on, we're talking about the way I married my wife. But anyways, we're trying to find ways to get there faster. And we have the technology. We have the ability to do that. And that's what makes it really different today. So for what I want to tell you tonight, before we get started on dinner, is that embrace this time with people you're here with, because they're looking for the same things you're looking for. They want to know what you know. They want to share what they know with you. They want you to share with them. One of the biggest challenges we have as people is always wanting to learn, always wanting to know more. But the problem is that people never want to share that. They're always like, this is my idea. Well, these couple days, it's about sharing those ideas. It's about trying to figure out how and why I can get further. And these are people around you that are going to be willing to share that. So I hope I kicked it off well. I hope I know a lot of people really really ready to get to start on dinner, but I just want to wrap it up with just one thing quickly. I have a little plaque on my desk, a little note card, and then a little piece of plastic. And on that plastic, underneath that plastic, on that note, it says, if I'm the smartest guy in the room, I'm in the wrong room. And so for all of you tonight, I just want to let you know, I know I'm in the right room tonight. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoy dinner. I hope to see you all week. Thanks again.